our industry is, one could argue this, like our end users or our clients are by and large women mostly. Yet on the corporate side of a lot of the companies that create products that we use, it's not predominantly women, it's predominantly men. So I love to see female executives who've really excelled in the aesthetics industry, and what your experience has been as a female executive, kind of working your way up this ladder.
Okay, sure. And it's funny because I was hoping we would talk a little bit about that today. And so I asked my colleagues for a few stats, just how are we doing on that whole woman in leadership perspective? And you'll be interested to know that women right now at J&J lead 80% of our science-based functional teams. So that's, that's a shift, right? Secondly, women hold nearly 45% of all science roles within Mentor. And lastly, more than 50% of the Mentor leadership team are women. So we really, if you looked at that, I'm sure 10 years ago, I'm sure we've doubled on every category. So it's always good to check just to see sort of what's happening from a global perspective and from head office.
Well, yeah, you're right. Because I would never have guessed that. If you asked me those questions and asked me to guess what the numbers were, particularly on the research side, I would have guessed, maybe flip those numbers around. I would have guessed it'd be on the 20, closer to the 20 rather than the 80.
Dr. Yazdani, me too. And it's funny because when I got these numbers today, I sent them to my whole team because I think it's a great, just for them to know, right? I know, the question always gets asked. J&J sometimes often gets thought of, how are we represented from a female perspective in the leadership roles? So that was interesting. And majority of the reps have replied back saying, wow, I did not know that. So it's information we need to share more, I think.
Yeah, you really do. If people don't know it, you really do need to share that, because that's a great statistic, especially in an industry that really is predominantly the customers are women, and so let's build on that point. So from your perspective, what do you think that you've had challenge? Like, have you had challenges that perhaps some of your male colleagues wouldn't have had, or are you saying that Mentor's so great that you've really, like, it's been an easy transition?
I would say so. I went back 5 years ago to do my MBA, right? So that was number one, just to give me a bit
And
of
your
an edge.
background, Kim, is nursing, right? So
Social science degree, went on into nursing, but never nursed. So I know that always seems funny, but I went right away after my nursing stint to occupational health and safety, but went into the sales and marketing side. So I have background for sure and understanding things, but no real active bedside nursing skills. So if you get sick, you do not want me at your side, put it that way. Nor does my husband.
you're
So.
not going to get redeployed during COVID. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. But what's interesting, so when I went back to do my MBA, and it was more just, I'd been in sales management position for a number of years, but just wanted that edge, right? Wanted that new shift to digital, to, social networking, all those things that, as a woman now who's 50, it just things that I needed to brush up on. It was great. I have to say, for me in a leadership role, it really did help me move into Mentor with the right skills that I needed to work with all of the different private clinics, to help be more involved in tender processes and financial summaries and all of that. So from that end, and J&J was extremely supportive of that. So I think if I hadn't have done that, there might have been a bit of a gap and a few more challenges for me. Especially, as I said, because a lot of times we are doing business case scenarios with the private sectors where we're helping create value propositions and everything else, working with our clients and our customers. Prior to that, women in a leadership position, when I first got into sales management role, I would have been one of the very few females sitting around the table. Majority were male. And myself and my other female colleague, we would always get into a meeting initially and count, just to count, what's the ratio in our head, right? And these little texts would come across. That's really shifted now. So that, at one point, if it was, 2 females and 20 males, you're really seeing now it's definitely more evenly distributed. and I also think it's just, for several reasons. I mean, it's a choice that a male or female have to make to take on a bigger career, right? The time, I mean, you're away from family. If you're traveling, I mean, there are a lot of opportunities that are amazing, but some people don't look at it like that. And often, and it's changed it drastically, but 15 years ago or 20 years ago, it wasn't always the female that would want to take on that 60 to 80-hour work week. Which is, it is, right? We work hard, right? We travel, and you have to embrace that and have to have a support system. So for me personally, I had a great support system. So I have a partner who is, 50-50. There's no thinking, hey, that's your job or my job. And I also had two parents who live locally who were there when I was traveling to have the kids stay overnight and everything else. So those factors, I think, are what really helped make my role possible.
So do you think that companies need to go out of their way to make the environment a little bit more friendly for female executives, or do you think it's naturally just kind of moving in that direction? As someone who's succeeded.
Yeah, I think both. I think now what's happened with COVID, it's made it really possible for virtual communication, meetings. So I don't think that expectation is that we all have to be in the office 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. every day driving to market. And I think the company's now saying, hey, we get it. We don't think so either. If you had asked me 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, I want everybody in the office. I want to have meetings around the boardroom. It was always I just liked everybody being in person, being there, being engaged. I tell you, the last year and a half, you can definitely have great meetings like this, like we're doing. It'd be much better to be in person doing it, but this definitely will suffice.